Hey guys, this is Michael again. Yes, be excited. Today we are going to review Sunset Riders by Konami. And basically there weren't a lot of cowboy games, especially in the 16-bit era. In the NES era there are a few, well, good ones. There's Gunsmoke, which was pretty hard but fun. That was like an overhead perspective game. Then there was the Lone Ranger. That one was like a RPG hybrid. And then this was an arcade game. This is called the Sunset Riders. Gunsmoke was an arcade game as well, but it was different on the NES. And this came out for the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. The two different games are, excuse me, the one in the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis are different. I think the Sega Genesis is closer to the arcade version, but there's two characters instead of three, and the Super Nintendo has three, and you can move up and down. Now don't quote me, I played the arcade a long time ago at a grocery store, which is random. They had that, and they switched it to Street Fighter 2, and then the Spider-Man arcade game that was pretty sweet, but you don't see that one too much. That one was made by Sega, I believe. But anyway, I wouldn't know how to classify this game. It almost feels like a beat 'em up with guns. I'm playing on super easy right now with extra lives, just so I could get far enough to make a different video. But even on easy, this game is pretty difficult. But that also might just be because I'm in a spoiled gamer playing all these newer games that have learning curves. This game is not very forgiving, but that also could be because of its arcade roots. But Contra 3 The Alien Wars, as far as I know, wasn't an arcade port, and that was pretty hard too. But I guess it was originally based on an arcade game. I don't know. I just know this game is pretty difficult, even on easy. And there's a chance I could suck. This is one of the few games you actually can go visit prostitutes, and it's still on the market. Now, I haven't played the Super NES game in a very long time, so I can't say much about that one. I don't know if Nintendo took the prostitutes out or not, but they're definitely in this one. The soundtrack in this game is pretty good too, I'd have to say. It's typical Konami fare. You really can't go wrong with Konami. They've always made pretty solid games. Now, I can't speak for Konami too much now. Their streak hasn't been as perfect, but on these 16-bit systems, like, beside first-party titles from systems, like, Konami was the way to go. Capcom was pretty good, but Capcom had its fair share of duds. As you can see, that's that crunchy sounding Genesis speed. I think they could have afforded like somebody else to do a better sound. If you're gonna have very few sound clips, act them out well. I think they probably just got the secretary that was chilling at the desk to record that for them. Now if you go to these hotels and press up, you can visit whores. There you go. Hearts are coming up, but I don't think love was involved in any of that. This game's really fun, even though it's really hard. It's one of those games that, since it's so action-oriented, like, it's just fun to play no matter what. Like, if you die, just to play it over again, you get further once you figure out the patterns and who's gonna end up where. Just like any game, really. I don't know how easy it is to beat this game because I've never gotten that far before, but it's still fun even if you don't beat the game. It's just one of those stress reliever Twitch-based games. This was the first-person shooter of its day. They probably add first-person shooters when this came out, so that was a pretty stupid comment for me just to make. I always felt like when it came to the Sega Genesis, Like, the Sega Genesis had a lot of stock sounds. Konami always made their sound original. Like, they almost had their own sound library or something. And their music was a lot better too. Well, besides like a Sega made game. But even like early Sega games kind of had this crappy sound to them too. I didn't really hear good sound effects and soundtracks and stuff like that until like probably around the Sonic games. Because I went back and played the Sonic collection on the PlayStation 3, and it just reminded me of how some of these older Sega games didn't work, but the Sonic games are always really good, like with sound and graphics. When I played these games when they first came out, I probably didn't know the difference between one or the other, but now I look back in retrospect, I can definitely tell. You can see the few games I have played through on this channel, a lot of them have been Konami games, because, I don't know, I hold Konami in high regard. The first two bosses in this game seem fairly easy. I don't know if they speed up again, because it's been years since I played this game. I say that in almost every video, but it's true. I only have the game laying around and just haven't touched it for a long time. It happens. Sometimes it's depressing because then you hold like a game in high regard and you go and replay it and you just realize it was kind of crappy. I don't know, like I looked through all these games through eyes of a child. I didn't take much to impress me. A lot of times I'll watch these videos where these people complain about how crappy a game is, and I'm like ashamed to say as a kid, like I enjoyed it. So it's kind of weird. I even approved of probably that little hurrah dance he's doing. I still have no idea how to avoid like little telephone poles or bridges or whatever they are in this level. It's almost a requirement when you have a Western game to have a train level. This reminds me of the Last Crusade video game. Which wasn't that good, by the way. There was like a adventure game that was pretty good. But you don't really get to play those games because they're on a PC. Like you get like a lot of these games that have like arcade collections and stuff like that, but to play like older classic PC games like and buy them in collections, it's a lot harder unless you emulate them, which kind of sucks because the generation won't be able to see it. It was kind of cool with the Wii version, Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings, which I think would have been a fairly decent game if they would have took out some of the motion controls, because I had fun until you had some motion controls where you couldn't play it, but they actually had Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, which kind of made up for the crappiness of the other parts of the game. But that game would have been good if they would have changed some of the motion controls. I'm not a terribly huge Wii fan, but there's a few games on there I like. I do like the Virtual Console. I know it's not playing the same thing, but I like that option. I wish the PlayStation Network and stuff had that. Every once in a while they get classic games, so I just wish they had that library. When the Wii first came out, they made it sound like they were going to have every game ever on there, but it's nothing like that. Everybody pumps up and lies about their system. I'm hoping the 3DS's Virtual Console will be pretty cool. They're just talking about Game Gear and Game Boy games. This is bullcrap because 3DS is capable of like Wii graphics. So they are capable of having a lot more in their system, so I don't know why they're being stupid like that. I hope they change their mind. Nintendo has a great library of games, a lot of potential, but they never seem to use it all the way. And that's why I always end up just liking the Mario and Zelda games that come out like maybe once or twice in the whole system's life cycle. I just remember the days of the Super Nintendo. The system and the NES, like, they just had like more stuff, like a lot of things going for it, and then everything was like marketed to kids almost after that. I mean, each system had its fair share of good games, but not like particularly the Super Nintendo days. You got to ride a horse. It would have been blasphemous to not ride a horse in a Western game, so there you go. I feel so wrong shooting like these Native Americans in this game. You almost feel like the bad guy on this level. I said almost, you do feel like the bad guy in this level. I guess you can't get so mad. Japanese people made this game, and I don't know, they might not fully know the whole story. But it's a video game. You can play as a bad guy or good guys in games, and it's just pixels and stuff like that. I don't believe in censorship, so. Such a voice time! Yeah! It's always the same girl. And I died. So, yeah, I feel like this game's pretty hard. On even easy, but fun. I did have a good time playing this. And I get to type in my initials, which is pretty fun. The only thing that sucks about most of these 16-bit cartridges, they don't have memory, so after you turn off the power, it doesn't save your game. Anyway, that was Sunset Riders. If you like this video, subscribe, and for those of you who have, thanks for watching and your support. Feel free to leave comments, alright? Take care. Enjoy yourselves, etc., etc.